hot. Here we go.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Pride.
I'm really, really hot. That was fresh. I'm really, really hot. Here we go.
Tonight on Conscious Fever, we're taking a hard look at the hidden danger behind police field sobriety tests. Studies show that sober drivers, even cyclists, are being arrested, jailed, and charged based on tests that science says fail far too often. Real stories, real data, and real consequences. Join us as we expose how innocent people are getting caught in the DUI dragnet. Tonight at 9, only on Conscious Fever and only on ICE Entertainment TV.
I'm really, really hot. That was fresh. I'm really, really hot. Here we go.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Pride.
I'm really, really hot. That was fresh. I'm really, really hot. Here we go.
Welcome back to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Pride.
Tonight on Conscious Fever, we're taking a hard look at the hidden danger behind police field sobriety tests. Studies show that sober drivers, even cyclists, are being arrested, jailed, and charged based on tests that science says fail far too often. Real stories, real data, and real consequences. Join us as we expose how innocent people are getting caught in the DUI dragnet. Tonight at 9, only on Conscious Fever and only on ICE Entertainment TV.
Welcome to the Conscious Fever podcast, hosted by Carl Price and Paul Mullins. Coming to you live from
You are
Louisville,
listening to
Kentucky.
Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
Either way, I don't give a damn what you think you are entitled to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment you've been waiting for. So listen responsibly.
It's the best of the best. It's the one and only DJ Ice, Louisville's coldest DJ.
Thank you all for all of that. Good evening. My name is Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever here on ICE Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. Thanks for joining us tonight. Got a very interesting topic tonight. We're going to be talking about field sobriety tests and how subjective they are, and we want you to join in as well. I am here tonight with Mr. Mullins. Somewhere, Paul is down here. Paul, how you doing?
I'm all right.
You said what?
I'm down here in Louisville, late in the evening. Good to be here, Carl. Good to be here.
Yeah, that's what they always say. Paul Simon once said, late in the evening. Anyway, listen, thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to talk about field sobriety tests and how subjective they are, and it might be some information that y'all were not aware of. We as lawyers, we want y'all to be aware. And I know Paul said earlier that, the best thing, and I'm sure he's going to talk about this, is to refuse a field sobriety test, even though there are consequences to doing that in Kentucky. If you refuse it, it really decreases about 50% of the prosecutor's evidence, believe it or not. In my opinion. But anyway, this is Conscious Fever. I'm Carl Price. It's here on Ice Entertainment Television, Conscious Fever Radio. 1 week away, Paul Mullins from
Turkey Day.
Just bring you in. One week away from Turkey Day. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to cook. Are you cooking?
Not unless some people want to go to the hospital.
Never cook. Oh, not unless some people want to go to the hospital. Yeah. Well, I reached out to my family. It's my family members, and they're making different dishes. So I can't wait. And I'm going to probably be home all day and not work. But anyway, and not work.
Not work.
Because I always work. Anyway, I'm Carl Price. This is Conscious Fever. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk to you all about field sobriety tests. So don't go anywhere. And we'll get you in our comments as well. Be right back. Why would you say that?
I don't want them, no, get them all off me. Say that for hell, she'll cause you. 4 cars deep, we'll come through on a lane night. Chicken spot, wings and fries, we call that a day night. Lights on, so out, I don't have no stage fright. Knew that I was built for this forever, ever.
You are listening to Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price.
We ride bands, 10 times 10, all my friends, this for real.
And we are back with more Conscious Fever, hosted by Carl Price, Esquire.
Hey, welcome back to Conscious Fever here on Ice Entertainment Television and Conscious Fever Radio. Of course, I am Carl Price, your host tonight. Paul, let's welcome, if we can, some people who have come in here tonight. We'll say good evening to Stephanie, H60. What is H60 instead of H2O? You know what that is?
It's extra water, I guess.
No, it's not. Can't be water.
Heavy
water
water?
is H2O.
Oh, heavy water, I don't know.
Can't see you guys. Oh.
H60.
Is there a problem that you can't see us?
She can see us.
There you are. Yeah, you got computer issues, Stephanie. You need to take care of that. Hey, Madeline, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for the compliment. Paul, you think Paul's blue?
No, I got a blue tie on.
Paul is looking
even though
sweet as usual. Even though what, Paul?
I'm not a Kentucky fan. Just want to let y'all know that. Not a Kentucky fan.
Good evening to Renegade number 5.
Hold on, Renegade. Is that Renee? That's Renee.
That's Renee, yeah. That's Renee. Anyway, but that's where we are. But Paul, I want to talk about, and for you all, thank you all for joining us. But tonight I want to talk about, and switch my screen, this system is doing its own thing tonight. So we're going to get ourselves all back together as we do this thing. But anyway, I want to talk about field sobriety tests. I think I mentioned that to you all. So on tonight's edition of Conscious Fever, I want to just take a moment and talk about something that sounds technical, but lands very human, all right? This is the danger of police officers' use and misuse of field sobriety tests. I think we all agree impaired driving is deadly and must be taken seriously. But there's another danger we don't talk about enough. What happens when the tests used on the side of the road are wrong when they turn completely sober drivers and even cyclists in some states into drunk drivers on paper. So tonight, I want to walk you through what the research actually says about these tests and share some very recent cases, including right here in Louisville, where people were arrested and prosecuted even after science proved they were not under the influence. Something interesting, huh, Paul?
I'm listening.
Anyway, let's start with what are field sobriety tests? Really? What are they really? When an officer pulls you over on suspicion of DUI, they usually start with field sobriety tests. The horizontal gaze, nystagmus, that's the eye test, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand. These are called the Standardized Field Sobriety Test, or an acronym of SFST. And these are, and then they were created and validated for the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration in the late 1970s and early 1980s. In theory, they're supposed to tell an officer, quote, this person is probably above the legal limit. In practice, they're highly subjective, and the officer who decides you failed, quote unquote, is the same officer who decides whether to arrest you. Imagine that. According to NHTSA's own training materials and summaries of its validation studies, the eye test, the HDN, alone is only correct about 77% of the time.
So how often
Paul,
is
when
it,
you do that,
how often is it wrong? Then 30? Are you saying it's wrong 23% of the time?
Listen,
1 in 5?
Listen, 77% of the time. So when you think about this, 77% of the time actually is hold on, I was trying to correct something.
3 out of
here.
4.
77% of the time is actually no, I think it's like 3/4 of the time.
Yeah,
77% of the time. So that means almost every person that if 10 people are stopped, then 2 to 3 are improperly told that they have failed the test. Right? I mean, pretty much. So, the walk and turn is right about, get this, Paul, 68% of the time. The one-leg stand is right about 65% of the time.
That's the hard one.
Even in controlled conditions, combining tests tops out, all of these combined in tests, they generally top out at around 80% accuracy. And that's according to Justeel.com. If you flip that around, even in the best laboratory conditions, you can have something like 1 out of 5 people misclassified. And that includes false positives, meaning sober or below limit drivers treated as drunk. Number 2, the science on false positives. How many sober people fail, quote unquote, when we look at independent research? The picture gets even more troubling. In the original 1981 study behind the modern ST test, or the standard field sobriety test, researchers at Tharp, Burns, and Moskowitz found that 32% of the subjects whom officers judged based solely on field sobriety performance to be above the legal limit were actually below that limit when their blood alcohol was measured. That's according to PublicMed.com.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. That means that they're way off in their estimation that you're drunk, and it gives them probable cause to arrest you, which honestly, as a defense attorney, it supports what we've always said in the background, which is everybody fails this field sobriety test.
Right.
Everybody fails it.
Right,
so
right. I mean,
once they ask you to take the test, you're going to fail it.
Yeah, and for obvious reasons, because now we're finding out with this data and these and these stats, it's revealing the subjectivity, the serious subjectivity of it. But let me say that again. In the foundational research, about 1 in 3 people the officers thought were, quote unquote, over the legal limit were not. A later analysis published through Touro College looked specifically at the false positive rate among sober subjects, people who truly had no alcohol in their system. That study found a 26% false positive rate for the standardized field sobriety battery test. In other words, more than 1 in 4 completely sober people were incorrectly scored as if they were impaired or drunk. And that's according to Turo Scholar EDU. Another classic study by Clemson psychologist Stephen Cole asked officers to watch videotapes of 21 sober individuals performing field sobriety tests. Officers were significantly more likely to call them impaired when they were doing the standard field sobriety test than when they were doing ordinary tests, like walking normally or reciting their address. That's according to publicmed.com. So when someone fails, quote unquote, a field sobriety test on the roadside, that's not magic. That's not a lie detector. The peer-reviewed science says the following: a sizable chunk of sober people will be judged impaired just based on how these tests work. And remember, those studies were done under controlled conditions. Think about real life: flashing blue lights, highway noise, cold weather, bad knees, anxiety, which a lot of people have, nervousness, language barriers, PTSD, balance disorders. All of that makes false positives even more likely. When science says sober, but the handcuffs stay on, now let's leave the lab and look at what's happening on our streets. Okay? Honolulu, around 130 sober people arrested in Honolulu, Hawaii. Wow. The ACLU has filed a class action lawsuit against the Honolulu Police Department. They dug into the records and found that from 2022 through 2024, Honolulu Police Department arrested about 129 drivers, Paul, for DUI whose breath or blood tests later showed a blood alcohol level of 0.00.
Okay, so what happens?
No alcohol at all, according to the ACLU.
So what happens is
Hawaii.
When the officers determine by the field sobriety test that you must be drunk and you blow 00, what do? You're not blowing hard enough. You must be on drugs. It's always something else. That's a problem.
That's a huge
if I
problem.
think you're drunk, it doesn't matter what you can do to prove you're not drunk once they think you're drunk. I mean, I don't know what the answer. Are they letting these people go when they blow 00?
No, they're not. They're arresting them. And we've got even a case here in Louisville. I can't pronounce the girl's first name, but I'm gonna do my best as I tell y'all this story. But Paul, according to the ACLU and press coverage, out of those roughly 129 DUI arrests with 0.00 blood alcohol content, only about 11 to 12% even received a simple traffic ticket. Only 3 people, just 2.3%, were ultimately charged with any drug-based impaired driving offense. Okay? That means well over 100 people were handcuffed, booked, and dragged through the system, even though objective tests show they were sober. That's according to the ACLU of Hawaii. Sorry, I get these things. And how did many of those arrests begin? With officers claiming to see clues on field sobriety tests. Let's talk about Louisville, Paul. Kaquita Boyd,
I'm gonna call
0.0 on the breathalyzer, clinically sober on blood on blood right here at home in Louisville. WDRB investigators told the story of Kaquita Boyd, a 44-year-old mother.
Miss Boyd.
Let's call her Miss Boyd. We don't want. Okay, a 44-year-old mother of 5. In January 2022, get this, y'all, here in Louisville, she got into a minor car wreck on the way to work. An LMPD officer claimed she didn't follow directions during the field sobriety test, arrested her, and charged her with DUI, according to WDRB.
She had 5 kids?
Here are the key.
She need to be drinking.
Whatever. Here are the key facts from that investigation. At the jail, Miss Boyd took a breathalyzer. The result, 0.0. No alcohol detected. She then requested a hospital blood test, which is legal. You can request that. That's one of your rights. The medical record described her as, quote, clinically sober, close quote, with an, quote, undetectable blood alcohol level. The officer admitted that she didn't smell alcohol and that Miss Boyd wasn't slurring her speech. Despite all of that, Miss Boyd was jailed and then forced to fight a DUI case for 14 months before it was finally dismissed, according to WDRB. Now, her lawyer says that the officer persisted in the prosecution knowing that this woman was sober. Ms. Boyd tragically died in 2025, this year, from medical issues. Her family now says the prolonged stress of fighting a completely baseless DUI contributed to her decline. And the same WDRB piece notes this is not a one-off. Remember, earlier this year, former U of L star Russ Smith was arrested for a DUI with the blood alcohol level reportedly around 0.065, Paul, below Kentucky's per se limit of 0.08. His case is still pending, according to WDRB. And another LMPD officer was arrested in Hardin County for DUI with the blood alcohol content below the legal limit, according to WDRB. Again, the evidence that got them arrested in the first place often starts with field sobriety tests and officer interpretation, not a machine and not a lab. Beyond Louisville and Honolulu, across the country, media and legal investigations have uncovered a pattern. In Tennessee, at least 5 sober drivers have filed federal lawsuits against officers and agencies after being arrested for DUI, with later medical or toxicology evidence showing no impairing substances. In places like Iowa, Colorado, Arizona, and elsewhere, individual drivers have won settlements or brought suits about being arrested for DUI despite blood alcohol tests coming back 0.00. Totally sober. That's according to Reason.com. We do not have a single national database that cleanly counts every DUI or cycling under the influence arrest where the later chemical tests show no alcohol or drugs. But the science plus these public cases tell a consistent story. Thousands of people every year are arrested and charged based heavily on field sobriety tests, and a non-trivial number of them are in fact sober. So why is this so dangerous? Let me be clear. Drunk and drug-impaired driving is real. No question, right, Paul? Deadly and needs firm enforcement. But wrongful DUI arrests based on shaky field sobriety tests carry serious harm. For instance, criminal records, mugshots that follow people even after a dismissal, job loss or discipline, especially for commercial drivers, teachers, nurses, postal workers, family stress, and mental health strain, as we saw with Ms. Boyd, who reportedly thought about her case every day and was humiliated by the charges. How about financial devastation from legal fees, towing, higher insurance, and missed work? And perhaps most importantly, erosion of public trust in police and prosecutors, particularly in communities that already feel heavily policed.
Let's talk about that real quick. So you're saying that because I got arrested when I blew a 0.00 that I no longer I'm going to trust the police? Makes sense. I mean, right. The stories that you just read, I mean, the one about Russ Smith, I wasn't aware. I knew he got a DUI. It's plastered all over the news. Right. Right? I never checked to see what he blew, but if you're telling me he blew under limit, and not just barely under limit, far under limit, that's kind of crazy. I mean, that they would still arrest him and then say, well, our basis is because he failed all the clues, which eventually I'm going to get to the point of why take the test. If you're going to find me guilty of it, you know, that I'm not going to pass it. But Paul, think about
this. But when a system can jail you for DUI while your breathalyzer and your blood test say you're sober, something is upside down. So what should change? Here's what I'd argue as we have this Conscious Fever conversation tonight. Field sobriety tests should be treated as what they are, rough screening tools, not gospel. Courts and juries need to hear the actual numbers. Studies showing 26% of sober people misclassified, 32% misjudged, below the limit in the original research, and NHTSA's own admission that these tests are far from perfect. Every DUI stop should be fully documented on body camera. This is number 2. We should be able to see exactly how the officer gave the instructions, what the driver did, what the environment looked like, and whether the test was administered correctly. And that's with video, right? Objective tests should be mandatory when available. If you're going to arrest someone for DUI and you have ready access to a breathalyzer or can quickly get a blood test,
right. Yeah, just get to the breathalyzer. So
a zero. Yeah, well, hold on. Let me just say this: a 0-0 result, like in Honolulu and in Ms. Boyd's case, should trigger immediate reevaluation, not automatic handcuffs, and a year-long prosecution, according to ACLU of Hawaii. Departments must be prohibited from using quotas or informal incentives for DUI arrest numbers. In Honolulu, part of what is alleged is that officers got perks, Paul, and scheduled benefits for making DUI arrests, and this pressure helped lead to arresting sober drivers to boost these statistics. That's according to the Washington Post. Number 5, let me just say this. The training must include medical, age, and disability awareness. Many of the sober drivers later suing agencies have balance problems, injuries, neurological conditions, or simply panic that make these gym class tests unfair from the start. Defense lawyers, judges, and juries should stop treating standard field sobriety tests as magic words. He failed the field sobriety test. Should not end the conversation. It should begin the questioning. Was the test done correctly and under reasonable conditions? What do the chemical tests say? Is there video? Did the officer exaggerate or misinterpret behavior? For listeners, awareness is protection. For you as a driver, and in some states as a cyclist, a few takeaways. Here's the takeaways. Let me give you the takeaways, then I'll be done, Paul. Understand that these tests are subjective and error-prone, even according to published research. If you have medical or balance problems, be prepared to calmly explain them in your of course, if you're ever stopped. If you are arrested despite being sober, remember that a dismissal doesn't erase the trauma, but it can be the first step towards accountability, as we've seen here in Louisville and Honolulu and Tennessee. On Conscious Fever, we tried to shine the light on where the system would rather keep you in the dark. Tonight's message is very simple. Yes, we must protect the public from truly impaired drivers, but we must be just as outraged when sober people are hauled off to jail because a roadside balancing act and an officer's hunch are treated as science. If the data say 1 in 4 sober people can fail these tests, and if cities from Louisville to Honolulu are seeing lawsuits and investigations over sober citizens arrested for DUI, then it's time to rethink, reform, and restrict how field sobriety tests are used. Because public safety that routinely punishes the innocent is not safe at all. So, Paul,
that was a lot. What the hell? I ain't got nothing left to say.
Let me just tell you, it was a lot, but it was a lot because, people need to know about this. People need to know. Because I think a lot of people get it. First of all, let me just say this. You and I have had DUI cases. In fact, I showed you a video today.
Not that we have had DUI cases.
No. Not personally driving drunk. But what I'm saying is,
we're not driving drunk.
Is that excuse me. We have had DUI. We have represented clients.
Oh, they want to know about the smoking, the cleaning lady. What's she doing tonight? You put her on blast, and now they're still talking about her.
Don't start. The cleaning lady. I can't believe y'all are doing that to me tonight.
You brought it up. Put her business out there.
No, the producer put it out there in a promo. In a highlight of the show. But I guess she's around here. I'm taking.
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on, listen. When it's time to
dig in.
When it's time to take her break, I'm sure she's going to go down to the garage and
see,
have her smoke. You know what's funny though, Paul? It's funny you bring her up.
I didn't bring her up.
You just brought her up.
I'm reading.
Well, you're reading that, but you brought her up on the show. We haven't read that yet. Listen. Listen. Here's the thing. What's funny is that when I went down to check my mail,
here we go.
We had to go down so late in the afternoon to check our mail. Went down to check our mail. I saw her, and guess what I saw? I guess what my eyes fixated on, that wig. And I was thinking to myself,
you're doing it twice in a row. You know, her nephew or brother came on her last time and said, "Don't talk about his
aunt." Yeah. No, that was Willie Aiken from New Jersey. He
said it was his aunt.
He's light skinned. She's dark skinned.
I believe it was his aunt.
But listen. But here's the thing. I did see her, and my eyes just fixated on that wig.
Stop.
And I was thinking,
stop.
I was thinking that poor wig.
That's mean.
That poor wig. Wonder what it smells like today.
That's mean.
You know, does it smell like
Mean.
Detroit weed? Does it smell like
Sweet.
Does it smell like L.A. weed? California weed? Does it smell like Kentucky weed?
Do you ever see that movie with Della Reese and Richard Pryor?
I've seen it all with
She gonna cut
Harlem
you.
Nights.
She gonna cut you.
She gonna say, "Come here, bring it here." But anyway, get
Walk
back to
over-
what we were
walk
talking
over
about. I
here
don't know,
and
I'm
let-
not gonna talk about it. You want to look at the comments? Is that what you want to do? 'Cause the
I'm
comments
trying to
are dead.
respond to your 30-minute monologue, but I don't even know if I can. All I would say is that
Well, we can go to the comments and let you do the 30-minute monologue.
we had right there somewhere, right below there.
Somewhere right there. Okay, let's look at these comments. Paul is looking sweet as
Yeah, we
usual
see
for
that.
sure. Why would you want me to just put these comments up about what they're saying about
Hey,
you?
sometimes I need some people glazing me. Sometimes, you know.
Engaged in you.
Glazing,
Hi, Carl. Love the tie, hon. Thank you. I think it's a nice tie. Ooh, Paul, absolutely look at the blue, sir.
Pop. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I like that blue. Paul, I have to give it to you, man. I like that blue. I like that combination when you wear it. And I notice it a lot because you wear it a
glazing
lot.
too now.
Is your tie polka dots, Carl? Yep, it's polka dot. It's polka dot gold.
So she said that's not right when you were talking about the part where people were getting
No,
arrested.
it's not,
Honolulu.
Stephanie. It really isn't. And then I know Madeline was saying wow and what.
Yeah,
No,
because
I mean,
it is shocking that 25% of, you know, if that's an accurate statement, I don't see why it wouldn't be. But if 1 in 4 people are falsely, accused of being drunk, that's just crazy. I mean, that defeats probable cause. It makes me think that, and when you get back and we'll discuss that. I'm reading some of these. I'm saying I'm ahead of you on these comments, but
no, because you've been sitting there reading, and while I was telling the story, it's her looking neat and nicely cut tonight.
Oh,
Just
thank
so
you.
you know,
Thank
every
you.
Thursday morning I get. Oh my God, his phone is going off. Every Thursday morning, early in the morning, my barber cuts my hair, so that's why it looks so
now
neat.
Tony, you commenting and you calling me at the same time. What
Tony
is your
said,
problem?
"No way." Tony wants to be on the show.
Right. Like, we don't have call-ins.
And you also called out the cleaning lady for smoking her joint to chill. I need to take a puff. I don't take puffs, Madeline. In caps. Oh, Lord, Carl, I am sorry. Here we go. Carl, back to them puffing with her. Wig her. Trying on that wig, too.
All right, so-
Oh, Lord, the wig. They are, no, you want
we
to
miss
hear
a
the
bunch?
podcast. I live, yeah, there's a lot bunch
here
of,
we
I
go.
believe Carl loaned her that wig and paid it. Carl, what wigs you get? I don't have no damn wig. Don't make us cut y'all off on this. Jesus, here we go.
He said cut you off. Now that if they was cutting me up, it'd be all good. Now they cutting you up.
It
so
would
he's
be, yeah, if they were talking about you, it would be
right, all good. But now
they're
they talking about you,
me.
so you
They're talking about
ready to
about
cut
the-
them off.
They're talking about the host. But anyway, Paul, let's get to this, man. So we each of us have represented DUI defendants, and I can tell you that I am floored at what I see in these police videos with some of the DUI defendants that I've represented. In fact, we were looking at a video earlier before we came up here to the studio, and I mean, were you just as shocked as I was in what you saw in that video?
Tell them what we
saw was a
non-English speaking Hispanic person being.
Well, he was Cuban.
Okay,
And he kept
Spanish, Cuban. What? Well, come on.
No, wait a minute, Paul.
Spanish and
Paul,
Cuban.
Paul,
What?
Paul, don't show that ignorance.
I'm
man.
not being ignorant.
No,
I'm
you
just
are
saying-
being
I said
ignorant
Spanish
because
speaking.
No. Well,
Cubans speak Spanish.
Okay, but
they don't speak Cuban.
Listen, but it's
He ain't
not
offended.
that
Why are you offended?
Hold on. It's not that easy because there's all these dialects from Honduras to Spain to Mexico to Cuba. Okay, so let's just.
What
anyway,
is the language?
Anyway,
the language.
Listen, the
is
bottom
Spanish.
line. The bottom line is that this person did not speak English,
Okay.
and the BA tech, which is the breath, the what they call it,
The person who administers the breathalyzer.
Yeah, well, but they call it BAC.
Okay, but these are people. They
Okay,
don't.
but no, you saying these people are dumb, Paul?
No, people don't hear
What do you
these.
mean? I mean, but
If
you
I,
can
if
call
I
it
walk
what it
into a
is.
doctor's office, they use 3-letter acronyms, 4-letter acronyms. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm a lawyer.
Okay,
It's just
anyway, it's the breath.
it's a term of art for the profession.
It's the breath test operator, And she told this guy, and you all have to understand the background. I'm gonna tell you all the background in just a second. But but she told this guy, she said, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't speak I don't speak that language." And he kept saying, "I don't speak English. I don't speak English." And she said, "Well, I have to read you this. I have to read you." And she's reading it to him in English. That is the most abhorrent stuff that I've ever seen on a DUI case, because there is law in Kentucky that says that if you don't understand the English language, regardless of how MAGA you want to be and think that everybody should speak English and understand English, if you don't understand the English language, whatever language you understand, these rights, these notices that must be read to you and given to you while you're in jail, must be given to you in a manner where you can reasonably understand it, which means that if you don't understand English, the jail officials have to make reasonable efforts to get you an interpreter so they can administer this stuff to you. And I think the problem was, Paul, remember I told you there was a 2-hour problem with that case as well. I think they were really up on the 2-hour, and that was probably one of the reasons why she was right. Because I can't believe that they're doing that to every non-English speaking person that comes into jail. Do you?
Usually they call a language line, or they bring. It's
just as simple to call a language line.
They honestly, I've seen them bring in people who quote unquote speak enough Spanish to try to interpret it for them. But what we saw on video today was she was like, "Well, he don't speak English." And then when she finished the interview, what did she say? "Well, he didn't understand me," and just was like, "But he signed it." He didn't understand me, but he signed it.
No, I got it, is what she said. She said, "I got it," but no, he didn't understand what I was saying. So in any case, but I just found that to be, let me just say this, Paul. When I was initially looking at that, I'm gonna be honest with you. When I first looked at the video, and I was sitting there looking at the video, and of course, as we a lot of times we watch this police video while we're doing other stuff just to make sure we don't miss anything. And I'm listening to the video, and I'm watching it at the same time, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not happening. Is there some defect in this video? This can't be happening. The guy says he doesn't speak English, and the mandatory rights that he must be given, the notices he must be given, she's giving it to him, insistent in English, and says, no, I don't understand what you're saying, but I want you to listen to what I'm saying. Remember that, Paul?
Right. So back to the whole issue of the field sobriety test. My thinking is do we as defense attorneys now need to lobby that we shouldn't, if the statistics are that bad, we shouldn't be using field sobriety tests against people as evidence that they are guilty in trials. They should be only used for the purpose of probable cause, which of course is a lower standard to get people.
Well, Paul, hold on. Let me stop you a second, because I don't want you to get down this rabbit hole.
What rabbit hole?
They generally don't use standard field sobriety tests as evidence. Okay.
Well,
generally they can't. Number one, and I forgot my number two. But go ahead.
Well, number one and number two. But I'm just saying it's not. It doesn't even seem like it's enough for probable cause if it's that far off.
That's the problem, though, Paul. It is enough for probable cause. That's the problem. At least subjectively in the police officer's mind, what he is saying or she is saying is that, well, I've got enough. I think in Miss Boyd's case, it was obvious to us hearing that, right?
I honestly didn't know that they were. I always had this notion that everybody gets found to have failed this field sobriety test, but I didn't know there were studies where they're putting sober people in front of police officers and saying, "Can he pass the test?" I didn't realize that they were that far off. Like 25% is a lot to be wrong.
I mean, here's the problem, though, Paul. Right? I mean, the problem is that, and this is what everybody listening need to understand about DUI, especially in Kentucky and probably all over the country, is that the standard field sobriety test that the police give out on the street when they ask you to take those is not the only factor they use in determining whether you're intoxicated or impaired, right? What they do is they are able to subjectively use all of these other factors. They say your eyes are glassy. Also, though in Miss Boyd's case, they said her eyes were glassy.
Right.
She blew zero out on the street, by the way. They said that her eyes were glassy, and remember, she had on glasses.
Right. Well, but again, if I've had a case where an officer said that my person failed a nystagmus test, but she didn't have alcohol in her system, and I wonder how she failed nystagmus test if she didn't even have alcohol in her system. But that was a whole nother issue, and I
think that's obvious.
I know, but I'm saying, but he said she failed it, but
No,
she
I
didn't
think
have
it's obvious.
she didn't have any alcohol. In her system.
No. I think it's obvious why he believed that she failed it is because you said she failed the eye test.
According to him, he said that she had all the clues of the eye, not being able to follow the pin and all that, but she didn't have alcohol.
But we all would. And you know why
No. There was just a mistake. There's no way she could have failed it because she didn't have alcohol in her system.
No. I didn't say she failed it. What I'm saying is that it is. I think it's perfectly normal to not do properly on the eye test or even the walking test, the one leg stand and all of that, because a lot of people, especially people who have never encountered the police before, are nervous. You take people as you find them. So if you're a person who gets anxiety easily,
right.
this is going to completely throw you off. And here's the other thing. I think when the police encounter normal people out here, I think what generally happens is that the police on a daily basis, especially those who are stopping people for DUIs, they are encountering people who probably have some type of impairment. And when I say impairment, I mean people who get nervous real quick because of authority, people who get people who may have a balance disorder, people
right.
who may have just had a stroke,
or it's cold outside.
Or it's cold outside, and they keep you out there. Some of them have kept you out there doing this test until they feel like they have enough probable cause, and that could take 30 minutes in a sub-zero weather. So it's the reason we're talking about this tonight is because I think, Paul, you want to pretty much advise people what to do when they're
if there's no penalty, if there's no penalty to skipping the field sobriety test, then just say I'm not taking the test and give me the PBT and just blow on the PBT, and if you pass it, you pass it. If you don't, you don't. But skip the field sobriety.
But what's going to happen if they don't take the test?
If they don't take the field sobriety test?
Right.
Nothing. You don't lose your license. You lose your license if you go downtown and you don't take that test downtown. But I would just say if you think you have enough clues to say that I'm guilty of a DUI, just let's skip all this. Take me downtown and I'll take the test. But sober people don't do that. But
sober people don't do what?
Tonight on Conscious Fever, we're taking a hard look at the hidden danger behind police field sobriety tests. Studies show that sober drivers, even cyclists, are being arrested, jailed, and shot.
What was that you just did?
That was, I don't know what that was.
Okay, anyway, I'm just saying, what is the point of taking the field sobriety test if it's not going? I don't think I've ever seen a case, and I wouldn't because we're defense attorneys, where someone passed the field sobriety test, unless you look at the video and say this officer's lying about her failing it. But I just don't see it. Like, if I was pulled over, I'm debating this because of this new information I learned today about the failure rate. Why do I need to take the field sobriety test? If I feel like I'm not drunk, just take me downtown and give me the test downtown. I don't think that being out there, humiliating myself on camera and all that mess is going to keep me from getting arrested, because once the officer thinks you're drunk, he's going to either give you the little field PBT or he's going to take you downtown, because you're always going to fail the field sobriety test. Always going to fail this field sobriety test. So,
well, you always fail it because it's subjective.
Right, it's subjective. Right? That's the point.
And even when you think you passed it, you probably have failed it.
The PBT is an objective test. The one downtown is a more objective test. What the officer thinks your eyes are doing is subjective. Whether he thinks you walked and turned correctly is subjective. Whether he thinks that you could hold your leg up in the air long enough is subjective.
Right, so what can people do?
So why take it?
So there are consequences when you... First of all, let me get back to the street. When the police encounter you on the street and you decide that you don't want to take the field sobriety test, there is no consequence other than it's probably going to enhance the subjectivity of the police officer.
He gets to infer that since you won't take it, that you must, you must be impaired.
And that's not right.
But what I would say is to say, I don't want to take that test. Give me the PBT if you think you can pass the PBT. Just don't bother taking those field sobriety tests because.
Well, but no. You can refuse the field sobriety test, but you're talking about the PBT. But why would you take the PBT, which is a portable breath test?
I'm saying if you think you're sober enough to pass
a portable
it.
breath test.
Because what we're finding out, according to what you said, is that people are failing the field sobriety test, but when they blow on the tube, they are
sober.
They're sober, and so the question becomes, if I'm sober, and you still think I took this other subjective test, and I'm guilty. Why take the test? What's the point?
Right.
If you want to take me down and claim that I'm drunk, what difference does it make?
Why take any test on the street? Now, it's a different story, at least here in Kentucky, when you get down, when you do get arrested and you go down to jail, they will offer a test to you. If you refuse that test, there are some consequences. You'll lose your driver's license. You have to give up your driver's license during your first court appearance. The police officer cannot take it on the scene. They can take it from you if it's already suspended, but if it's not already suspended, they cannot take it from you. You have to wait till you get to court in front of a judge, and the judge says, give me your driver's license. But you do have a right to contest that and say, listen, there's something wrong here with the refusal. And so there is a consequence to doing it, but I would tell you that if you refuse to take any type of blood test or any type of breath test at the jail or a blood test at a hospital, you don't get to the hospital unless there's some circumstances and the police officer get judicial permission to draw your blood, or it's voluntarily. It's voluntary. So if you decide not to do any of those, I would tell you that it really handicaps the prosecution's case. But there's a consequence. You lose your license in the meantime. So if you've got 2 cars, you've got 2 people in the household, you've got a driver in the household, not a wealthy driver, not like wealthy people. I'm just saying if you got a driver in the household where you can just say, well, look, my wife can take me back and forth until we determine this refusal issue.
It's interesting. When I was in law school,
But
there wasn't this automatic penalty for refusing the test, and the rule, because I remember it. When we were reading.
I remember it.
I specifically remember when we were in law school that
Why would you go there?
Go where? I'm just saying. I remember when we were in law school because we debated all the time. Should you refuse?
No other reason that you remember it?
No. Should you refuse the breathalyzer? And when I was in college in law school, we came to the conclusion that you should always refuse the breathalyzer, and then they introduced the rule where the breathalyzer is an automatic loss of license for 6 months. But prior to it being an automatic loss of license,
is unfair.
there was no consequence to refusing. So you refused to take the breathalyzer, and you'd handicap the prosecution's case, and they had nothing to objectively say you were drunk on, and you'd beat the DUI just because you didn't take the breathalyzer.
I think it's unfair. I think it's unfair to suspend somebody's license because they refuse to take.
Well, that's why they introduced that law, because people.
No, I understand.
Would refuse, and then there was no evidence.
I'm just saying that I think you have a constitutional right to say this is what I want to do or this is what I don't want to do, so long as it has no harm to anybody else. And if you don't want to take a breath test, I don't think that there should be a consequence for that.
That's
because
well
it is
settled.
a punishment. Because if you drive for a living and you have to lose your license for 6 months based upon some subjectivity that might be incorrect, and I'm not saying all officers.
Oh, when you were a prosecutor, you wouldn't have thought that way. But the basic.
I don't know how I would have thought if I was a prosecutor.
I remember going against you. You were a totally different person.
No, do we have DUI cases? I don't think you were licensed when I was in the DUI unit.
You weren't. You wouldn't have. But
I wouldn't have done what, Paul? What are you talking about? See
look,
how he
I'm
always
just being real.
Takes a swipe at me.
I wasn't taking a swipe. I
took a swipe at you earlier. You just didn't go down the rabbit hole.
So listen.
You still don't want to go down the rabbit hole.
The rationale is really simple. I'm not going to sit here and say, even as a defense attorney.
You don't want to go down the rabbit hole, Paul?
No. Even as a defense attorney.
Do you know what rabbit hole I'm talking about?
No, I don't. Alice in Wonderland?
No.
What?
Okay.
All right, so
when you talking about what y'all learned in law school, I was just wondering where you really got that experience from.
we really debated that.
Okay,
I can name the 3 students that we always talked about it. Like,
I'm gonna leave it alone because if he figures it out, he's gonna get really upset with me.
Oh, you're trying to say we were drinkers. So anyway,
I'll be on that, but okay.
Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make is that essentially the reason why they added that law in is because the right to drive, you don't have a right to drive a car. So because you don't have a right to drive a car, they have the right to make you take the test or suspend your license. It's not like you have a right to bear arms and have children, which are amendments in our in our Constitution. Those are your rights. The right to bear arms is a right, but the privilege to drive is not a right. And I know that is some lawyer talk right there, but when you're talking about constitutional law, there's a difference between a privilege and a right. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. The lawyers, if you know, you know, but there's a difference. So driving is a privilege, carrying a gun is a right. They're 2 different levels of, constitutional.
Yeah. So in any
protections.
case, I'm gonna try to kind of wrap up some stuff here in terms of what we were saying, but but I think that in the real world we can't get too caught up into Madeline. We can't get too caught up in assuming that there are dynamics.
I'm reading the chat. Are y'all? Are they fighting again?
They're always fighting.
What
man.
the hell?
What's she say here? Carl, know what I am talking about, so shut your face and go take it into the nearest garage to get a tune. Oh, I got
What is going on?
I don't know. Why are you calling me, Madeline? Y'all get into it, then y'all call for help? I mean, what the hell? There's your buddy. Paul is a closet case down. Donald Trump type, typical dictator, because he has a short man complex and he likes D's.
Yeah, okay. Is that the best you got, Tony? Is that the best you got? Tony's mad because one day I called him up and I said, Tony, somebody named Luke is looking for you. You said, Luke who? I said, Luca T's. And then I hit him with the D's nuts jokes. And he just can't.
Oh, don't talk like that on this show.
He
didn't say nuts.
That's what he meant.
I understand what it means. This is a
family
show.
That's been a running joke that we've had for about 10 years.
Yeah, but this is a family show.
At least 10 years.
This is a family show. We don't want to talk
always trying to get each other on one of them jokes. But
yeah.
Tony, don't be mad. I got you last. And you still mad.
Anyway, Paul, I like saying this part in this show.
Which part?
Any last words?
We're already at last words?
You want
What you spend like 45 minutes talking?
Oh, anyway, I know.
Nobody else gets to talk.
Listen, y'all.
This is what it's called when you're a co-host. That means you sit here and
listen patiently.
Listen patiently.
But listen, this is what
we're out of time.
This is what Paul wants to talk about. Let me tell y'all what Paul wants to talk about. We probably got
another show, but just give him a little taste.
This is what Paul. No, we're gonna talk about it tonight because I can't believe you said what you
said. It's a whole show.
It is a whole show, and we can talk about it next time. I do have a secret lover. How'd you know?
Wow.
Yeah. I do.
Love should never be a secret, Madeline.
Love should never be a secret.
You just said I had a secret lover.
But I have a secret lover. But anyway, but here's what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about. So Paul is into the scientists. What's his name?
No, listen.
Hold on.
Let me set up. Put the camera on me. Just all right. So this is look, when I was growing up, being a smart brother wasn't cool. All right, you know what I mean about smart brother, right? Like in that movie Undercover Brother,
nerd, basically.
Right. I mean, call it what you want, but
no, I didn't say you were. I just said
it's okay though. I don't care. When I was growing up, since the second grade, wanted to be an astronomer or a scientist. I would tell everybody that's what I wanted to do. I didn't decide that maybe practicing law or being a lawyer until about the 9th grade.
Well, you like that little boy on the cartoon. What's the name? Now, boy, the rooster.
So there you go. So this is the problem. This is the problem. The problem is that, and I don't mean to exclude anybody, but in our black community, we do not appreciate. We do not appreciate the smart brother. You've got.
No, I believe that's true.
We don't appreciate them. you know, a guy coming out of jail is going to have more clout than a guy who is a genius. It's when I was growing up. I'm not saying it's like that now. But when I was growing up, that's how it was. It's how it seemed. Like the Snoop Dogg, the Thug Life, and the Tupac had people thinking that being smart wasn't cool. So
can you get to the caveman?
Yes, I am. So I've followed a scientist. His name is Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I always say that, you know, he's somebody that when I was in college, I was like, I saw him on TV, and he was an astronomer, and he was at the Abrams Planetarium, and I was just like, whoa, like, you know, like that could have been me, because at one time I wanted to be an astronomer. And he's one of the smartest people in our country, some would say. So he's got this show called Star Talk, and I watch it all the time. Well, this morning it popped up on my TV, and something interesting popped up, and they are saying that if you ever thought about,
get this, y'all, listen
if you ever thought about how language evolved and how we come to have language, they're now having studies that's been going on for a year or so, where they're claiming that we may have been more in tune to learning music and singing before we even learned how to have a language.
There it is.
So and it comes from and some of the stuff is self-intuitive, and we can do a whole nother show over this. But some of the stuff is self-intuitive, because if you think about it, we didn't have written history until about 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. Yet people were able to do things and remember things. And if you remember from school, you have classics like the Iliad and the Odyssey. You have Beowulf. And these are all things where they told you people repeated over hundreds of years, telling the same story. And that's because these stories were told like, basically like rapping, like rap music today, like singing, like chanting. But that's because they've discovered that when you listen to music or when you sing, you tend to have a better ability to recall memory. And it's tied to that. And so this whole episode was on how the neuroscientists believe that people, human beings, talk to each other by music and song before they learned actual language. It's amazing. So if you want to look that episode of podcast up, just type in something like Star Talk, singing Neanderthals.
Okay, so let's just break down what Paul just said. Basically, what Paul is saying is that scientists have discovered that before people learned to talk, they were singing first.
Well, music and singing.
They were music and singing, but in order to make the music, they didn't have the instruments back in the cave.
They did.
No. I know.
No. They found flutes from 40 to 50,000 years ago, and what they found was they found a bone thigh that had holes poked in it so that they could make a flute. Now this is 40,000 years ago. They're making musical instruments, and the theory was that if we have a bone flute, they must have, prior to that, since it's hard to make a bone flute, it's hard to understand how to poke the holes and make the sounds. They must have had other reasons, other abilities to make music that were easier to make than bone flutes, because a bone flute would be hard to make. You can make it out of wood. That's easy to chisel into. You don't have to find the perfect size thigh. You could make a drum by stretching skin over a fabric and tapping it. You could make music just by picking up two rocks and clapping them together. So we had this before we had written language, before we had farming, before we had domestication of animals. People had music and singing.
So before they talked, because I want to make sure I understand what you're saying. Before they talked, they sung.
The theory is that language developed from
singing,
a type of
rhythmic
and chant and singing and music,
stuff like that. So this is what I'm trying to envision. I'm trying to envision a little cave kid that doesn't know how to talk but knows how to sing. So in order to convey what the kid is saying, the little cave kid then, Paul, just correct me if I'm wrong, is saying he won't say Daddy, I have to go to the bathroom. Daddy, I have pooped in my diaper. But instead, he's saying, Daddy, I got to go to. No, hold on, Paul. Let me just make sure I understand this. This bathroom.
But the problem is that you're
in my diaper. The problem, and then you hold on a second.
You're making a joke about this.
I'm not making a joke about it. I'm just trying to visualize that what you're saying is that a little cave kid was walking around singing, I need to go to the bathroom because I pooped in my diaper. I know they didn't have diapers back then, but I pooped in my diaper because they couldn't talk. And so the cavemen are saying, honey, we got to go to the grocery.
So you're thinking about it.
It makes no sense.
To me, it makes no sense. To me, this is amazing because you're thinking about it like that. But the thing you just did was you sang with words. What is it that we sing? We can sing without words. We can hum. We can make noises, and that is singing without words. You're humming a tune. And they're saying that before we had words, we communicated with music, rhythm, and sound that would be like singing. So you would.
I'm going to the woods.
Okay, no. While you're making a joke about that, listen. While you're making a joke about that,
that makes no sense.
It makes perfect sense. Think about it.
Neil deGrasse. Think about it. It makes no sense to me.
Let me give you an example. Think about it. If you had to make a canoe, and nobody gave you instructions on how to make a canoe.
Are you gonna sit there and say, I'm gonna learn
how
to make a canoe?
That's exactly.
This is how I'm gonna make the canoe.
That's exactly right.
I'm gonna put the wood right here, put it in the water, and I'm gonna make the canoe.
That is exactly right. That's how you learn to do something because somebody sung it to you, and because they sung it to you, you didn't have to worry about.
That's why they call them scientists. That's why they call them nerds.
You didn't have to worry about it being degraded. For instance, I can remember a song from 30 years ago. Who can't remember a song from 30 years ago if it's your favorite song? Today, I heard It Takes Two by Rob Bass. I knew every word. But I don't remember what I said to any particular person 30 years ago because memory is tapped into music, or music's tapped into memory. And it makes perfect sense. If I need you to remember that if you go over that mountain, that it's dangerous over that mountain, I'm going to create a song so that it's remembered. Beowulf is one of the oldest stories ever told, and they sung it. They sung it because singing it helped you remember it. That's how we developed our language. That's what they're saying. Now, you might think it's funny, you might think it's stupid, but that's because you don't believe in science. And all I'm saying is it makes perfect sense. It's one of the best Star Talks I've ever seen, and it makes perfect sense. When your kid is a baby, do you sit him down and say, first letter in the alphabet is A, the second letter is B? You don't. You know what you do? You sing him a tune. You sing him A, B, C, D. My daughter didn't know her threes. And one day she was crying because she had a test. I pulled out Schoolhouse Rock. She learned the test for how to do her threes, learned how to multiply by 3 in 10 minutes. To this day, when she has to count by 3, I laugh and I say, Jessie, count by 3. She still sings the song from Schoolhouse Rock because it's tied into how we remember things. And that's why they believe that singing and chanting and all of those things, poetry, is why they didn't need to write stuff down. Today, we have to write everything down. That cripples us. If we spoke like they spoke as early prehistoric men, they did a lot of singing because it helped you remember. Everybody's got a favorite song, and it's old, but you remember every word. Why? Because you're singing it. But try to remember what somebody said in a speech. You couldn't do it if it was 10 days later.
Yeah, Paul, that's all right. Let me tell y'all something. I believe that the whip from the wig, I got the Paul.
What are you talking about?
You know what I'm talking about. The smell from the wig. Paul's been hanging out with the cleaning lady. Okay,
we're going to have to cue that. We got to cue up that video next time.
We will cue up the video. We'll talk about this next time. I'm not sure if we're going to be here next week.
We're not going to be here next week.
We're not going to be here next week. Paul's not going to be here next week. I might be here next week. I might be here next week for.
You can be here by yourself on Turkey Day.
That's okay.
Lies.
I'm used to doing
the
show by
lies you
myself.
tell.
No,
you heard it here first. That's a lie.
But I wouldn't be here next week because I don't want to be in this building all by myself this late at night.
So the answer to my question is You're not going to be here.
So I may not be here, but anyway.
You
But
lost
in
that
the
bet.
event that I'm not here, we have to wish them happy Thanksgiving, Paul, because I'm gonna tell you, you need to quit hanging out with that wig lady, because all that stuff you just said.
Hey, y'all, just
all
watch
that
it.
stuff you just
Star
said.
Star Talk with Neil deGrasse Tyson, singing Neanderthals. It was. I watched it this morning. I was awake and I was like, "This is amazing," and it made sense. It literally made sense. And these are not coming from just crackpots. You got an astrophysicist and basically a brain scientist telling you what they're finding and how. And he doesn't just say that. He tells you how they came to this conclusion, and it makes perfect sense as to why we remember things when we sing them.
So visualize this, y'all. Visualize Paul and the cleaning lady. The wig has the aroma, right? And since he's never heard her talk and he's never talked to her, they're singing together.
Is anybody feeling what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying.
No.
Is anybody feeling what I'm saying?
No, y'all are singing together. Y'all are singing before
Carl,
y'all talk. That's what you're saying.
You're making it seem
I'm
like...
not making it seem like anything. I'm just listening to what you said,
You're making
Paul.
it seem like people just broke out on songs. And what I'm trying to tell you is that...
Yeah, I gotta go to the bathroom, Daddy. Let me sing it like Luther sings it.
Okay, can you tell me one person who ever said... Can you name anyone in your life who ever told you that I hate music?
No, you love music. I'm sure you love
Everybody
music.
loves music, and they're saying that it's not just that you love music because it's entertainment. They're saying that it's biologically implanted into our DNA. They're saying that the oldest neurons in our genome, our historic past, are related to music, not speech. And that's what they're saying. They're saying basically this is scientifically, it's a theory still, but there's scientific proof that we had music before we had speech.
Let me make sure I understand. So
language. I'm saying speech. I'm saying speech.
So
I mean
people,
language.
Okay, so those people that you were listening to on that video, they don't believe in God, do they?
They're some of the smartest people in the world.
I didn't want to ask you. I mean, because some of the dumbest people in the world don't believe in God. Okay, but I'm just saying they don't.
Is that?
They don't have a relationship with Jesus. No, I'm just.
I mean,
Paul,
is that your test?
Paul, listen. I'm just asking to go. Well, it
is
now, likely my test.
So
okay?
now
it is likely.
So now
my test.
they are discredited for any discovery they had because they don't believe in God, which means that the people who put a man on the moon, if you believe it, may not have believed in God, but so what? It discounts everything they did, everything they said.
What does that have to do?
The person who may have helped you fight off your cancer may not believe in God. These are scientists,
right? But how does that connect? Because I probably survived cancer because of my belief in God.
Right, but you're gonna.
They probably got to the moon and not got destroyed, and didn't get destroyed only because.
But I'm just saying,
you
can't discount what people are saying just because that's your litmus test. If you don't believe in God, what you say means nothing. I mean, that can't be your litmus test, because
could be anyway.
People do believe in. Yeah, it's a whole nother discussion. People believe in.
Last words,
gods.
Paul. Because I know if you're beyond your bedtime, you always complain about how many miles you got to travel to get out.
It is a lot of miles to travel.
So I'll let you have the
good
last
part
word.
of town.
We're going to talk about it on the next show. It's not going to be Thanksgiving because Paul won't be here, but it'll definitely be.
Who wants to be looking at a podcast on Thanksgiving at night? Y'all gonna be with y'all's family?
You'll be surprised.
Happy Thanksgiving.
You'll be surprised how many people have nothing to do but look at social media on Thanksgiving.
Well, that's pretty bad.
We may run a rerun though, but go ahead, Paul. Your last word.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone who's watching this show. Maybe some of my family members. I'll be at your house, Tracy. Hopefully, you'll let me show up without a dish as usual.
What dish would you bring?
Nothing that anybody would eat.
No, I'm interested in knowing that, Paul. I mean, if Tracy said to you, Paul, you absolutely have to bring a dish. No, don't laugh.
She's desperate.
You absolutely have to bring a dish. What dish would you bring? I hope Tracy's watching this.
Chicken wings. I can make some chicken wings.
You can make some chicken wings?
Yeah.
Well, who wants chicken wings on Thanksgiving?
Nobody. That's why I said nobody's asking me to bring anything.
You couldn't whip up some mashed potatoes.
No, if she said bring something, I'd go to the store and buy something.
Whoa,
or like
that's cheap. That's cheap.
What do you want? What do you want me to do?
You got to be. You must have grown up in St. Matthews because that's cheap.
No, it's not a St. Matthews thing.
Listen, when you come to a Thanksgiving dinner and you have to bring a dish, Paul, you have to genuinely.
No one's ever asked me to bring a dish to Thanksgiving. They know better.
If you pick up a cake from the store when you're supposed to bring a dessert.
Yeah, I can do that.
You're cheating. if
I'm not
if
cheating.
you got somebody else,
do you want a good cake or do you want a bad cake?
Oh, Paul, you're not that bad.
So let me ask y'all. Do you think that you should show up to Thanksgiving dinner with a nasty ass cake that you made for the first time that's too moist, falling down with terrible icing, or should you just go to Kroger and pick up a good cake that everybody says, "Ooh, that was delicious"? It's really a no-brainer.
Paul,
it's really a no-brainer.
Paul, I think you ought to get into the spirit.
I'm in the spirit
of the holiday.
I showed up.
And part of the Thanksgiving holiday in the melanated community.
I'm in the spirit. I showed up.
Hold on. In the melanated community is that if you're invited over for Thanksgiving dinner, and the rule is that you bring a dish.
There is no rule for me.
I understand. That's not what Tracy would say. It's not what your sister would say.
She knows better.
No, but I'm just saying that if you're supposed to genuinely fix the dish and bring this in. She says, "Bring me the cake."
Should I just call her and ask her?
Huh?
Should we call her and ask?
Yeah, call her and ask her.
Put her right on.
Put her live on here. And while you're getting her on, we're gonna
She may answer. It's probably past her bedtime too. She like,
excuse me, y'all. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you. I'm gonna get a gift. Check my messages. What's on my messages? Y'all sending me messages?
Hello?
Tracy,
Hey,
how you doing?
Tracy,
I'm live on Facebook Live, and I just got one question for you.
Hold on. Tracy, I just want you to know that I asked Paul to call you because I just cannot believe the rule that he just told me about Thanksgiving. But go ahead, Paul.
Do I need to bring something for Thanksgiving?
Do you?
Yes.
Well, yes.
No, wait a minute.
Okay,
Wait a minute.
there we go.
Wait a minute.
There we go.
I didn't
so
say
that's what happens.
No, wait.
That's what happens.
Wait.
That's what happens in black families.
Hold on.
You bring
Hold
the
on,
dish,
hold on.
and you have to make the dish.
Let
You
me
can't
just-
stop by the grocery store on the way
Okay,
to
I was gonna
Tracy's house
say,
and
is it
grab
all right?
something,
Is
man.
it all right if I stop by the grocery store and pick something up?
She's not going to deny you, Paul, so she's going to say yes. But if she's truthful,
All right. Well, let me ask another question. Do you want me to cook something?
So, my expectation depends on the person.
See?
and Paul can't. You don't think Paul could cook, so you don't want to take that chance?
Stop by the store.
And usually I'll tell him to bring, a dessert or something.
And he'll pick it up at the store. He won't cook it. He won't slave over the stove and cook it, right?
I don't see that happening.
You don't see that happening, yeah. Okay. Well, I just wanted to make sure, because I was just trying to make sure that Paul understood that traditionally, if you're invited over for Thanksgiving dinner, unless it's your parents, because your parents are like, I'm supposed to do this. You know, my mother, I never took anything to my mother's house when she was living and she was cooking Thanksgiving for everybody. But I'm just saying, when you're invited over to somebody's house, especially a friend, maybe a family member, you know, you're supposed to bring a dish. And my tradition, Tracy, is that you're supposed to make it. So if you're responsible for the green beans, you're supposed to make the green beans. You're not supposed to stop at the store on the way and pick up some nasty ass green
Well,
beans.
they pick out certain people to cook certain foods.
For a reason.
Right.
Okay, all right.
We do expect that you're cooking, but some people are handicapped with that.
Like Paul?
I don't try. I'm not trying to. She wants to have a nice Thanksgiving dinner.
And she will. And she will.
Right.
And she will. Tracy, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't believe he called you, though, but thank you.
I can't believe he did either. Oh, silly.
All right, bye.
All right, y'all, listen. We have to get out of here. Paul, say goodbye.
Happy Thanksgiving, Tony, Madeline, Stephanie, Renee. That's funny.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. And listen, thank you all for joining us. You see on the side here, you can always watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Conscious Fever, Facebook, my page. I am Carl Price. That was Paul Mullins over there. This has been Conscious Fever. Happy Thanksgiving. We will see you all. I might see y'all next week, okay?
No, you won't.
He's going to see y'all some other time. Have a wonderful, safe, and happy Thanksgiving, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you for watching the Conscious Fever podcast. We will see you next week.
When you need the best sound, when you want the best songs, tune in. We're here for you. The best radio in town all day long.
is that me?
That's you.
I was born by the river in a little tent. Like the river I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it will. It's been too hard living, but I'm afraid to die. I don't know what's up there beyond the sky. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh yes it is. Then I go to my brother. And I say, brother, help me please. But he wind up knocking but still